Hey guys, welcome to our pre-show Q&A. Thanks for joining us tonight as we get ready to see our live performance at Rock Falcon, where we've been recording our new album, The Bitter Truth. Man, I've got great news for you. We just mastered it. The album's done. I'm so happy. I can't tell you how happy I am, how proud I am. I'm so relieved and just can't wait for you to hear it on our release date, which we now have, which is March 26th. So we're gonna keep dropping songs until then, but March 26th is when you're gonna get the back half of the album. Woo! What a year on so many levels. All right, so no further ado, I've got a bunch of your questions here that you sent in on all the socials, and I'm just gonna read through and answer as many as I can. Okay, here we go. Okay, our first one is from Keith Fish, and it says, what comes easier, music or lyrics? Music. We were just in a situation where I felt like we were almost at a standstill, just waiting for me to finish the last few lyrics. Something about you can jam and vibe out and make sounds that sound good without having to worry about the lyrics for a long time until you get really glued to a song without having the meaning. And then there's this moment that sometimes hit if you really don't have any lyrics, which that was the case for a couple of these. It's like, well, what is this about? Why does it sound this way? Because in a way, the whole song should be pointing towards a point, you know, a reason for writing it. And that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. So I definitely spend more time struggling, frustrated, caring too much about the words than the music. I mean, none of it's easy usually. Sometimes a song just pops out, but it all takes a lot of just like work and, for me, perfectionism, tweaking out on tiny details. So yeah, music's a little bit easier for me. Okay, next I've got one from Slim Jim, and it says, everyone focuses on the difficulties of this past year. What has been something unexpected that was really positive to come out of this difficult year that may not have been possible in normal situations? That's a great question. I love that. There is so much to focus on that has been hard. It's unavoidable, but having to adjust our plans and having to think outside the box, it's been really, really good for the creative process. And other friends that I have in bands and in music have said the same thing. As hard as it's been, it's just provided time, like where we truly have to be home, and the only thing to control or focus on that we can do is create. For me, that's made for a lot of cool collaborations that I can imagine if we were on tour and I was away from my rig and busy with all that goes into being on the road, I wouldn't have had time to do that awesome collaboration with Bring Me the Horizon, that work I did with the Wagaki band, which was so cool, and also these live at home performances that we all got to do, you know, with each other, that were collaborative. I don't know, this has been a time for creativity in general. So the album has been like the main focus, but all these other little side things had a chance and had the time to come through and happen too. So yeah, the bright side is having the time for creativity, and we have had to work in different ways. Making the album, we had to work in different time frames with what was possible, and some of it remotely, which I think all of us have developed a little bit more skill with our engineering and working by ourselves when we need to. So that's always good for you. The better you can use your tools, and the easier that is for you, the more you can write and work and create. Okay, what else we got? Okay, similar but not the same question from Noah. Did you feel that making an album in this pandemic moment made the creative process more difficult and valuable? I love the way you put that. Yes, more difficult and valuable. When we finally got to get together after the band had to be a part. We came into the studio at first, at the top of the year, before the shutdown, and recorded the first 4 songs, just knowing that we were only going to do a small batch before the album was completely written or anything. And then we did that, and we were on such a high about it, and getting ready to go out on tour and all that. We all went home and soon realized that we weren't going to see each other again or get to move forward with any of it for who knows how long. So after a few months of working from home and just kind of like accepting the reality of like the year and the time and the moment that we were in, by I guess it was the end of July or something, we finally, after months, got to create a situation where most of us, everybody except Jen, could be back together for a time in person. We got tour buses to bring the guys from both coasts to here in Nashville, where I am and where our producer Nick Raskulinix is, which is so awesome. If I hadn't moved here, I don't know how we could have done this. I really don't. A lot of things have felt really fortuitous, really by fate, by destiny. It's like it was meant to be that we would be here, that I would have been in this place where we could continue to work like intermittently over the course of months and months and months, and to be in this center place where our stuff is and where we could all kind of come to be. So anyway, all I was saying was, by the time we got back together and did everything that we needed to do to make it safe and create a bubble, everybody was locked in here for about 6 weeks. We were just full of a new fire and a new energy. And what is the word you used? Valuable. Yes, it was more valuable. We really realized what it was to not be able to get together. So when, at least in part, we were able to get back together and continue the process and move forward in our work, it seemed way more valuable. And that's definitely something to come out of this year as well, is just to not take anything for granted, to recognize all the gifts that we really have been given that maybe we weren't really focusing on or appreciating very much before. Okay. Okay, from Damon Garamond. You recently have posted videos going through your old demos. Any chance we could get a new studio version of Lies? No. That's a very old song, for those of you who don't know. That's an early days song. But I have been going through all my tapes and a bunch of old material, and I do think it would be cool to find an outlet to share some more of that old stuff, because there's some really incredible audio that is, I've finally kind of moved past feeling embarrassed about all of it, and see it as like, wow, that's cool, that's weird, I was just a kid. I found this recording the other day of us like on the radio for the first time, local radio, like as kids in Arkansas, and like my best friend called in as a caller. Precious, just totally precious, all of it. It's so cool to have any of it, and I'm going through the process now of like converting all those tapes to digital so that they don't degrade any more than they already have. So yeah, I'm not going to share a new recording of Lies, but maybe the old one. Cool. All right. From Deborah McCrae, how has being a mom been? Has this inspired your music more? Yeah. Becoming a mom is one of the top biggest life events that you go through. Huge in my life. Opened my mind, widened my perspective, beyond the obvious, like we did a family kids album. It's back to that thing where you can appreciate more, because like your love grows. It's hard to put it into words, actually, but I was very inspired throughout being pregnant to the next few years and beyond, I kind of thought that it was going to be a time for me to shift gears and not do this so much. And instead, it really has propelled me towards it. It made me feel like I have had more to say and more music to explore. And he gives me so much life.